Hello, and welcome to the tutorial for Cubicus Rex, the latest card game from Galda Games LLC. In Cubicus Rex, you will compete in the milestone game, completing chains of cards with a different partner in each game. Each completed chain of milestones earns you a finished project. 3 finished projects on the project board get you a promotion. 3 promotions win you the title of Cubicus Rex. Let's get started. Your first step is to split the 90 card deck into 3 different decks. The first deck is the character cards, as represented by the helmet on the back of the card. The second deck is the project cards. These are represented by the laurel wreath on the back of the card. Your third deck are the milestone cards, which are represented by the crossed swords on the back of the deck. Each player selects one of the character cards to use to represent them during the game. The character cards are placed along the bottom of the project board, while a set of project cards are placed face down up the side of the board. The milestone cards have several features that are important during gameplay. At the top of the card, you can see Roman numerals from 1 to 6. These numerals are used to pick partners each time you play through the milestone game. They are also used to create chains during the game. Also at the top, you can see one of 6 different icons. These icons are also used during the game to create new chains. At the bottom of the card, you can see an action statement. This action is performed whenever a card is played during the milestone game. To start a game, shuffle the deck of milestone cards and deal 5 to each player. Put the remaining cards down to use as the draw pile. Turn the first card on the draw pile face up to use as your first chain card. The next step is to pick the partners that you will play with during the milestone game. Each player counts the number of 6s that they have in their hand. The player with the most 6s will be the mentor for that milestone game. The remaining players count the number of 1s that they have in their hand. The player with the most 1s becomes the mentee. The mentor and the mentee are partners, while the other 2 players are partners for this game. If players have the same number of 6s in their hands, the players should count the number of 5s that they have in their hands. The player with the most 5s then becomes the mentor for that game. Similarly, if players have the same number of 1s in their hand, then they should count the number of 2s that they have. The player with the most 2s becomes the mentee for that round. Continue to use the remaining numbers as needed to determine partners. If partners cannot be determined using the numbers, then the cards need to be reshuffled and redealt by the current dealer. The player to the dealer's left begins play for that round. Use the arrow card to keep track of the direction of play. In this case, the player can play a card with the same Roman numeral to continue a chain. The player performs the action on the bottom of the card. The player then picks cards from the draw pile until they have 5 in their hand and their turn ends. If a player does not have a card with the same Roman numeral, they can play a card with an icon that matches any icon that has already been played. The player starts a new chain with that card, executes the action, then picks cards from the draw pile to end their turn. If a player cannot play a card by matching either a Roman numeral or an icon, they must discard any card from their hand and draw a new one, ending their turn. When a player can place the 5th card in a chain, they win that chain for their team. That player takes one of the chain's cards for their project board. That player's partner takes one for their project board. The rest of the cards in that chain are placed in the discard pile. Depending on the action, multiple cards can be played at one time. In this case, the card's action allows you to play another card and perform that card's action. The second card played now reverses the direction of play. Turn the arrow card to indicate the new direction of play. Draw enough cards to have 5 in your hand. Play now continues to the player's right. Play continues until a player from any team completes a 3rd chain. When a player completes the 3rd chain, They select a card for their project board. Their partner selects a card for their project board. At this point, this milestone game ends. All milestone cards not on the project board are collected, and deal passes to the left of the current dealer. When players complete a chain, they place their chosen milestone card in their column on the project board. When a player wins their third milestone, they receive a promotion. The player takes the top project card and places it face up in front of them. Their cards are taken off the project board and returned to the other milestone cards. The other project cards are moved up one row, and a new card is placed at the bottom. The project card has an action that can be performed once at any point in a milestone game. Once the card has been played, the card is turned face down to show it has been used. A special rule goes into effect when a player has 2 promotions. That player must be the one to finish a chain to win a milestone card. If that player's partner completes a chain, the partner claims a milestone card as usual. The player with 2 promotions is not allowed to take a card from that chain. The chain is discarded as usual. The partner also draws new cards as they usually would. When the player with 2 promotions completes a chain, they can now take one of the milestone cards for their project board. Their partner then takes a milestone card as well. The first player to win 3 promotions is declared Cubicus Rex and wins the game.